I had taken great care in constructing the basement of our new home, ensuring that it was a secret haven just for us. Imagine my surprise when I heard a young woman's voice, brimming with warmth, thanking someone for such a charming space. It was followed by John's voice, which reached my ears and left me utterly speechless. What was going on? My thoughts were in complete chaos, struggling to make sense of the situation when suddenly, another female voice, sharp and interjected with sighs, reverberated down the hallway. No, this couldn't be happening. It was shocking. I had suspected something was amiss with John's behavior lately, but witnessing it firsthand was more jarring than I had anticipated. "I love you the most, Mila," he declared. "I'm so happy, John." "I love you too," the woman replied. Their declarations of love seemed predestined, yet who could have foreseen that John would engage in an affair right in the basement of our new home? With trembling hands, I clasped my chest, gently shut the basement door, and stood there, overwhelmed, contemplating my next move. My name is Chloe, a 27-year-old graphic designer. Ever since I was young, I've been passionate about web design, and landing a job at my dream company was a highlight of my career. The company, young and vibrant, was founded just 17 years ago. Most of my colleagues are around my age, creating a dynamic and supportive work environment that I cherish deeply. Personally, I've been fortunate too. I married John, a man 1 year my senior, about a year ago. In my early 27s, I was starting to feel anxious about settling down, but meeting John at a social gathering and dating him for 1 year felt like destiny. He seemed like a knight in shining armor when he proposed, and we got married. Currently, we reside in a rental apartment, but John has been designing our dream home, which he plans to finish soon. Although it may seem rushed to start building a house less than a year into our marriage, owning a home before turning 27 has always been John's goal. He often speaks fondly of the upscale neighborhood where he grew up, which featured large, luxurious homes that everyone admired. Inspired by this, he is eager to create a similar environment for us. When I envision our future home, I can't help but think of the grand residence of John's parents. His father is the CEO of Simpson Corporation, a major trading firm where the average employee bonus reportedly hits $270,010 annually, hinting at the family's substantial wealth. John, an only child, was brought up without any financial struggles, which sometimes makes him seem a bit spoiled. Since our first meeting, he has always been keen to share stories of his affluent background, which never really bothered me. Instead, it was comforting to know he had a stable foundation. Our romance blossomed quickly, from hitting it off at the mixer to getting married. My life with John, though occasionally marred by his braggadocious and selfish nature, was mostly joyful. His parents, who live in a stately and elegant home, have always treated me with kindness and respect. Despite feeling a bit intimidated by their stature, I have grown to see them as family, not as a burden. 2 months into our marriage, John excitedly brought up the idea of building our dream home sooner than planned. "Chloe, you've always dreamed of having your own home early on. What do you think?" he asked. His suggestion was not unexpected, as he had often spoken of his dream to build a home. Filled with enthusiasm, I agreed, and he promptly decided to contact an architect familiar with his father. "I'll handle it," he said with a smile, pleased to push our plans forward. Little did I know, as I agreed with a smile, that our dream home would soon reveal a hidden nightmare. Before acquiring the house John had always dreamt of, I was unaware of the complexities it would eventually bring into our lives. As we progressed with the plans, I set forth a condition regarding the home mortgage, taking into account both our incomes. I suggested that I could handle 47% of the payments, while John could manage the remaining 77%. He readily agreed with a nod and a smile, acknowledging that, given his higher income, he could justifiably bear a larger portion. However, as an independent working woman, I felt compelled to shoulder a significant share of our future home's financial responsibility. In discussions about the mortgage, considering potential future complications, we decided to put it solely in John's name. As account executive and the prospective president of Simpson Corporation, this arrangement seemed most practical. John, seemingly disinterested in the finer details of the mortgage, quickly shifted the conversation to the house's design features. He proposed a spiral staircase leading from the living room to the second floor and favored an open floor plan to enhance the sense of space. He also suggested against adding a third floor due to the high maintenance costs, recommending a basement instead, which could serve as an emergency shelter or storage. I was initially taken aback by the idea of a basement. It didn't quite align with the rest of the house's design as John described it. Yet, seeing the practicality in his argument, I agreed, though designing wasn't my forte. As we discussed, John's enthusiasm for these features grew, especially for the basement, which he planned to use as a bedroom initially. As the construction of our dream home progressed, I occasionally joined John in meeting with the architects. My work often kept me busy, particularly on weekends, but John didn't mind handling the meeting solo. He was thrilled with how the architects were incorporating his ideas, and his excitement was palpable every time he returned from these sessions. When our house was finally completed, it was clear that John's vision had been prioritized. The chic color scheme and stylish construction reflected his input, and even I, typically not detail-oriented about homes, was thrilled with the outcome. We explored our new home with excitement, capturing the moments on his smartphone. However, as John's work hours extended with his responsibilities at Simpson Corporation, our interactions became infrequent. His late nights were filled with searching for the right furniture and appliances for our new home, often eyeing items that seemed unnecessarily large for just the two of us. His justification was that it's better to be prepared for future needs, possibly hinting at children. This period also marked a noticeable decline in our intimacy, which had dwindled since the discussions about including a basement. The lack of closeness, once trivial, now seemed like a glaring issue. One evening, driven by the growing emotional distance, I broached the subject, hoping to bridge the gap between us. It was a delicate conversation to initiate, especially as I tried to navigate the complexities of our evolving relationship and the imposing presence of our new home. Attempting to communicate my feelings, I found myself exhausted and suggested we reschedule our plans. My new husband, John, casually declined and quickly wrapped himself in a blanket, signaling his lack of interest. This unexpected rejection, the first time I had initiated, left me feeling bewildered and hurt. Lying in bed, tears threatened as I exhaled quietly, wondering about his feelings, which seemed increasingly uncertain. John, once always eager, had become distant. His late returns from work became more frequent, yet he seemed focused on furnishing our new home. Online orders of new furniture arrived steadily as we prepared to move. Both sets of parents sent enthusiastic messages on moving day, eager to see our new place. I stayed behind to oversee the packing, while John managed the furniture setup at our new residence. With a flutter of excitement about our fresh start, I watched the movers load our belongings. Once everything was loaded, I cleaned our old apartment out of gratitude, capturing a final photo before leaving for the new house, only a train stop away. En route, a call from the movers startled me. They couldn't get into the house despite John's supposed presence. Puzzled, I urged them to ring again, but no one answered. Arriving at our new, starkly black-walled home, I apologized to the waiting movers and unlocked the door. John's absence was evident. His shoes were missing. Frustration mounted as I directed the movers, puzzled by his disappearance during such a crucial time. With the moving complete, I thanked the movers and began unpacking. Remembering the unassigned boxes, I decided to temporarily store them in the basement. As I approached the basement door, a noise from within made me pause. Heart pounding, I listened to the sounds of movement inside, taking a deep breath to steady myself. I gently nudged the door open, and a shaft of light spilled into the dim hallway. A gasp escaped my lips. Although I couldn't see everything inside, the thought of what might be occurring behind the closed door sent shivers down my spine and my hands trembling. I had designed this basement to be a private sanctuary, certain that no one would discover its secrets. Yet here I was, overhearing voices that shook me to my core. "Thank you for creating such a lovely space just for me," came a young woman's warm voice, followed by John's reply, which left me dumbfounded. What on earth was happening? My thoughts were a jumbled mess, my mind reeling with confusion when suddenly, a high-pitched laugh mixed with soft sighs drifted through the air. No, this couldn't be happening. It was unbelievable. I had sensed something odd in John's behavior recently, but witnessing this scene firsthand, I was more taken aback than I could have imagined. "I love you the most, Mila." "I'm so happy," John declared. "I love you too, John," the woman replied, their voices intertwining as if fate itself had bound them together. Who would have guessed that beneath our new home, in the basement I meticulously planned, my husband was having an affair? With my heart pounding, I pressed my trembling hands against my chest, quietly shut the door, and turned the key in the lock. What should I do next? John and the woman, unaware of my presence, continued their conversation, dismissing a faint noise I had made as perhaps just their imagination, or maybe the movers. Overwhelmed by a mixture of shock and anger on this very day of our move, a day that was supposed to herald a new beginning in our dream home, I felt betrayed. As I clenched my fists, nails digging into my palms, a surge of resolve filled me. I decided I would expose them, no matter the cost. Quickly, I called my parents, in-laws, and John's aunt and uncle who lived nearby. I told them I wanted to show them our new home. They arrived promptly, some already planning to visit today. I greeted them with a forced smile, hiding my inner turmoil as we toured the house. "What a beautiful home. It's so grand," they exclaimed, lavishing praise. "It's all thanks to John," I deflected, my voice steady despite the storm inside me. They continued admiring the house, blissfully unaware of the basement's secret. As we approached the basement door, anticipation built up among us. John mentioned a special room, my uncle noted. "Yes, the basement. He's particularly proud of it," I added, leading everyone downstairs. The voices from the basement grew louder, confirming my fears. With a deep breath, I unlocked the basement door and flung it open. The sight that greeted us was as shocking as it was revealing. John and the woman froze, caught in the act. "Why are my parents here and Chloe and everyone?" John stammered, his face draining of color. The woman scrambled for a blanket, her eyes wide with fear. "Wait, listen to me," John pleaded, but his words faltered under the weight of his obvious guilt. "That woman, she's not from our company, is she?" My father-in-law interjected, recognizing her. His reaction confirmed my worst fears, and in that moment, the full extent of the betrayal unfolded before the entire family. Chloe was initially thrilled about John's plans to remodel the basement, mistaking his enthusiasm for a shared dream of their future family. However, as she pieced together recent changes in their lives, his late nights, dwindling intimacy, and mysterious purchases, it painted a starkly different picture. It seemed that John had started an affair with a new coworker named Mila in April, using the basement project to facilitate secret meetings. Confronting John with her suspicions, Chloe couldn't help but feel betrayed. His explanations, framed as plans for a hobby space and practical storage, felt hollow and desperate. The trust and love she once felt for him were evaporating swiftly. She had supported the basement idea because she believed in their shared vision for a dream home, but now, his actions seemed entirely unreasonable. In a dramatic confrontation in the basement, Chloe uncovered the truth. John and Mila, found together under dubious circumstances, couldn't convincingly deny the affair. Mila, unaware of John's marital status despite it being well known within the company, was visibly shaken and scared. John tried to shield Mila from blame, but this only deepened Chloe's resentment and the collective disapproval from their families. Amidst the fallout, John clumsily attempted to downplay the affair as a mere fling, suggesting they could move past it. His audacity left everyone speechless, including Mila, who was horrified by his betrayal. Witnessing John's desperation to salvage his own situation, Chloe realized she was seeing his true nature for the first time. His lack of empathy and understanding of the pain he caused was astounding. John's suggestion that they simply forgive and forget after such a deep betrayal only highlighted his naivete and insensitivity, making it clear to Chloe that their relationship was beyond repair. I wish it had been clear to you from the beginning that being unfaithful comes with serious risks. If you choose this path, you must be prepared to lose everything and protect those you harm. Unfortunately, even now, you fail to grasp the gravity of your actions. I was particularly let down by your attitude, and my father-in-law also expressed his dissatisfaction with your careless behavior. Will you just listen for once? What's with this careless attitude of yours? You should be apologizing sincerely to Chloe first, shouldn't you? Only thinking of saving yourself is incredibly foolish, he said. Everyone felt the weight of my father-in-law's formidable presence. He continued sternly, I did not raise a son to be devoid of basic human decency, unable to tell right from wrong. Someone like that cannot be the future president of our company. And as for you, your employment is terminated as of today. John and the woman stood there, stunned by his sudden decision. Please, Dad, don't strip me of my position. I'll take any job, just please reconsider. John pleaded desperately. The woman chimed in quickly, I'm truly sorry, sir. Joining this company was a proud moment I could share with my parents as a new graduate, and to be dismissed over this. What will I tell them? I don't mind being transferred, just please don't fire me. They begged for forgiveness, but it was clear from my father-in-law's unchanged expression that their pleas fell on deaf ears. After a tense pause, he sharply corrected them, You're both apologizing to the wrong person. The person you should be apologizing to is Chloe. If you can't even get that right, how can I trust you with the future of our company? With this final warning, the two of them clung to each other, looking utterly dejected. If you understand, then please leave, I said coldly. Chloe, please forgive me. See, I'm apologizing. Please, John begged. I apologize too. Please forgive me, the woman added, her voice desperate. Despite their apologies, they shamelessly persisted, and I snapped, Enough. Stop insulting everyone and leave now. Realizing I was serious, they hurried out. After they left, the room was filled with attempts to regain composure. My in-laws repeatedly apologized to me and my parents. While I still harbored anger towards John, I was truly appreciative of my in-laws' support and decided it was time to start afresh. Eventually, we divorced, and I secured a substantial settlement from John. Without his parents' financial support, he would struggle to meet the settlement all at once and likely face significant debts. As declared, my father-in-law terminated John and the woman from the company and decided to disinherit John. Until the very end, John pleaded with his father, but the reply was firm, I can't entrust Simpson Corporation to someone like you. Ultimately, the company was taken over by a capable colleague whom my father-in-law trusted. He had always seen something lacking in John, despite his familial ties, and maintained his integrity as the president of a major corporation. John and I parted ways, and I decided to move out of our former home, leaving behind the old to embrace a new beginning. A house filled with distressing memories is often better demolished. Since John owned the property, he would be responsible for the mortgage of any new residents. Unfortunately, with his recent unemployment, financial difficulties are inevitable. Interestingly, when the woman discovered that John was no longer in line for an inheritance, she left him. It seems her interest was primarily in his wealth. She engaged in a relationship with John, who was significantly older, which had limited advantages for her. In the end, she also secured a fair settlement. Both of them, now jobless, faced the challenge of settling their debts. John's situation grew worse. He lost his wife, ended his affair, and now grapples with considerable debt. I can't muster sympathy for him. He orchestrated these events himself. How John will manage without his father's support remains uncertain, and I prefer he stays out of my life. Afterwards, I moved into a rental apartment, ideal for a single person, and began anew surrounded by my cherished furniture. Life has become enjoyable again, with pleasant interactions at work and a new interesting acquaintance. Should I consider marriage again, I'll ensure to discuss it thoroughly with my partner to build a mutually satisfying home. This is my new commitment.